by the amazing Chuck Gill. So this gift came about because we want to ensure that San Franciscans with disabilities have the opportunities to fall in love with all of our adaptive recreation programs without having to invest in their own equipment. This is, as you'll see soon enough, a real sport with some very serious athletes. And these chairs, though, are obviously a really important part of the game. They're going to be free to use for anybody who wants to come to Gene Friend to play adaptive basketball like a road warrior. And you can play whether you're an experienced wheelchair athlete or you simply want to stay active with a pickup game here. We are going to be having wheelchair pickup basketball on Friday nights here from 6 to 8 p.m. And we hope to continue to develop this site as a center for adaptive recreation and disability sports, which we're going to do not in partnership with, but because of our amazing Recreation and Park Department Inclusion Services program. And I'm joined by Lucas Tobin, who's the leader of our effort there. Thank you, Lucas, for all you do. This site has always welcomed people from every walk of life and with every ability at all times. The chairs themselves will be available for checkout at any time, but we want to have, again, this site become a real hub for adaptive recreation. So there are some much more interesting people than me that you're about to hear from. I'm going to start by introducing Seth. San Franciscans to Save Our Sports and Recreation has worked with us quite closely over the last couple of years. And through their advocacy and leadership, they have had the resources to be able to make investments in key areas of San Francisco's public sports and recreation programs. Not only these wheelchairs, but they've been very, very involved in making sure that all of our neighborhood tennis courts are in good working order and can welcome people of all abilities to play that sport. And they've been leaders in our efforts to revitalize the Golden Gate Park Tennis Center, which, Seth, as you know, we are pleased to be able to announce we will be breaking ground on April 4th. So without further ado, let me welcome up Seth Socolow.
Thanks a lot, Phil, and thank you all for being here today. Almost exactly 3 years ago, I came to the Gene Friend Recreation Center for the very first time. And Phil, it was actually the evening of February 9th, 2016, and that evening, the SFRPD General Manager Phil Ginsburg was hosting a meeting to review the department budget for the public. And what an incredible journey it's been from that day, almost exactly 3 years ago, to today. And I hope you'll indulge me by listening for a few minutes about that journey. I attended that meeting 3 years ago because I wanted to understand the department's budget towards resurfacing San Francisco's public tennis courts. I imagine many of you, particularly you guys, love basketball the way I love tennis. It is a hobby, a passion, and a borderline obsession. Tennis, like basketball, can be played outdoors or indoors. But if you love the game of tennis like I and my colleagues do, when we've been having rain like we have this past week, we don't not play the game. We find a way to play the game indoors. And in all of San Francisco, there's only one place to play tennis indoors. And for the last 45 years, it has been right near here, only a couple blocks away, on 5th and Brandon, the San Francisco Tennis Club. And when the owners of that club in 2015 told us that it was going to be demolished and turned into an office tower, we did not take that news lightly. Instead, we learned a valuable lesson about the power of sports to unite a group around a common passion towards achieving really great things for our community. In San Francisco, there's much talk about the need for more affordable housing, and it seems that more office space is being built each day. When I was growing up, my dad used to say to me, Seth, work hard, play hard. We also need more places to not just to live and work in San Francisco, but also to play, and to play hard. And that's the cause that we took up at San Franciscans for Sports and Recreation. We broadened our original focus on tennis to include all sports, In 2016, we gathered over 18,000 signatures in support of a ballot measure to preserve recreational space in San Francisco, whether public or private. And when that real estate developer who had purchased our tennis club finally wanted to meet with us and negotiate because they realized we had the recreation and sports loving public on our side, we negotiated an agreement not only to rebuild us a new indoor tennis club right here in Soma, but also to give back to the public that supported us by signing our petition. To date, we've donated over $1.8 million to public recreation in San Francisco. We've supported resurfacing public basketball courts, to this point, 15 public tennis courts at 6 different locations all over the city, the restoration of the Correct Playground in Golden Gate Park that was damaged in a tragic incident of arson back in 2017, and through the Let's Play initiative, retrofitting the 13 playgrounds in most need of repair, including one of them which is right here in District 6 in the Tenderloin, that I'm told has more children living in close proximity to it than any other playground in San Francisco. But today it feels particularly good to be back here in Soma, where it all started, and giving back to the Gene Friend Recreation Center. Soma actually has the least recreational space of any neighborhood in San Francisco, which is part of what makes this place so important to recreation in Soma and to the city as a whole. Before we kick off the wheelchair basketball showcase that I'm personally really looking forward to watching, I want to thank a few people. First of all, standing to my right, he's been a tremendous supporter of ours, former San Francisco Mayor, Mr. Art Agnos.
Yeah.
I want to thank, I want to thank everyone in the San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department. There are far too many for me to name, but I will recognize a few by name. Mr. Phil Ginsburg to my left. In the grants department, the person who's been our day-to-day contact and really helped to make sure that all the great things we want to do with this money get done. Standing over there, Mr. Nathan Sinclair.
Yeah, Nathan.
I need to thank all of the volunteers at San Franciscans for Sports and Recreation. We're an entirely volunteer-led and run group, and we can't thank the volunteers enough. In particular, I want to thank my fellow board members, some of whom are here today and some of them are not. David Brentlinger, who couldn't be here today, Anthony Giles, and standing over here, Betty Louie. And filming me right now, Mr. Tom Yankowski. I thought I'd close with a quote from one of my tennis heroes. Some of you younger people here today may not have heard of Arthur Ashe. Some refer to him as the Jackie Robinson of tennis for breaking the color barrier. In addition to being a great tennis champion and a multi-Grand Slam winner, he was a tremendous humanitarian and a prodigious writer. But he also had a way of packing incredibly inspiring ideas into very few words. I think these words sum up what we've done here today, and I hope they will inspire all of you. Quote, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Thank you very much.